Thomas McCarey is joining me right now, and he's on a campaign to stop smart meters. And it's sort of become a personal crusade for him, warning us that smart meters could end up compromising, well, this would lead to cyber crimes for us. So, Thomas, first of all, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Gunther. Thanks for having me on and being able to talk to your audience. I'm great today. It's a beautiful day. This is a story about dirty electricity and dirty politics in Pennsylvania, including fires, surveillance, health problems, and strong-arm politics. The dirty electricity is microwave pollution, and smart meters are lousy with microwave pollution. The utilities use military weapons-grade microwaves to monitor everything in your house that's electrical every 15 seconds. For fires, smart meters can catch fire and even explode because they are prone to hot sockets. Hot sockets occur when a portion of the meter base around a blade is melted. A common source of hot sockets is loss of spring tension in socket jaws. Statistically, 2% of fires start near meters, and there's nothing to warn of overheating, fire, or explosion. And not only that, the utilities blame the homeowner for any fires, and they have almost eminent domain. But the real reason for smart meters is to ration electricity. Smart meters will be able to literally take control of when a homeowner can use their appliances. An electricity profile will be made for each home, and if you use too much power, you will be warned to cut back. If you don't cut back voluntarily, you will be forcibly cut back by some unelected, unaccountable bureaucrat. And this all comes from Pennsylvania Act 129 in 2008 that mandates a 4.5% reduction in peak power demand. Generating plants are being closed and no new ones are being built. Therefore, there's less overall electricity. If you like cool air conditioning, too bad. There's going to be rolling brownouts and rolling blackouts like they have in California because they don't have enough electric capacity. A smart meter is a surveillance device. Tiny emitters and receivers measure all electrical activity, whether you open your fridge, turn on the oven, do your laundry, shave, and when all the meters are linked together in a neighborhood or condo complex, the meters can easily be modified to watch you move from room to room and listen to your conversations. All this will be linked to the utility, the government, and the military, and under the Patriot Act, the government can snoop on everything in your house. Once this is up and running, there is nothing anyone can do to stop it. Health problems. The radiation is inescapable. Smart meter radiation has been classified as a grade B carcinogen by the World Health Organization with the same dangers as lead, mercury, and DDT. Also, people suffer from headaches, ringing in the ears, trouble focusing, and a whole host of maladies. As a matter of fact, the CEO of the California Public Utilities Commission said to the president of Pacific Gas and Electric, there really are people who feel pain related to electromagnetic frequencies, and rather than having them become hysterical, I would quietly leave them alone. He is acknowledging the ill effects and trying to ignore them. Also, after 2 generations of electromagnetic exposure, health officials expect a 57% rate of miscarriages and birth defects.
Okay, now wait. I got to interrupt you now because you're reading, and I don't mind you reading, but I do want to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So this was Pennsylvania Act what?
129 in 2008.
In 2008. Okay. Now, for what are your? I'm just curious. What gave you this passion, and what are your credentials?
I'm an amateur detective. PECO, my utility is Philadelphia Electric, PECO, and they sent me a letter 3 years ago saying they were going to put a smart meter on my house. Mm-hmm. Well, I know all this stuff about the smart meters, and I told them under no circumstances are you going to install a smart meter on my house. I got an attorney. They had this bogus legal case that happened early on where the PUC won. What happens is the Pennsylvania Public Utilities Commission is a rogue, unaccountable bureaucracy, and they decide what's going to happen. And usually they favor utilities and not the people.
Well, it's just kind of funny because It's interesting because we have the same problem in Washington. We have unelected bureaucrats, whether it's at the EPA or whatever, shutting down business like electric plants, which then cause more problems, as you said, with the smart meters because there's going to be less power available. And there, they seem to not favor the companies. But you're right, in Pennsylvania, it would seem that many times, I'm not going to say always, that they do favor the utility. So we either way, whether it's the PUC, problem is the point I want to make, folks, is it's all the same. Whether you're talking federal or state, it's the bureaucrats as well as the Republican rats and the Democrats, all of the rats that have got us tied up in knots and that are legislating and regulating and taking away our freedoms. It's not just in Washington, but at the state level in Harrisburg, again, another agency, unelected bureaucrats telling you how much energy you can use. Now, I want to get back to this point about now, how are they coming up with this number on miscarriages or what the last part you just said? How that seemed a bit. How can you project that into the future?
Health officials and the government have done studies, and they're comfortable with that number.
Well, why would they let that number out if they're for smart meters and you're not?
I guess they're comfortable enough with that number that they don't think people are going to make a fuss about it. There's almost a complete media blackout on any information about smart meters except public relations pieces from the utilities.
Okay, so now you were, and so give me that number of what is it, miscarriages? What was it again?
As high as 57% in miscarriages and birth defects caused by electromagnetic radiation.
Wow, that would be the microwaves.
Yes, it is. And it's going to be blanketed. There's not going to be any escape from this.
Okay, now, you had the bogus case with the PUC, which I'm going to guess that you're saying it was bogus so that they could win the case and set precedent?
They have administrative law judges that decide these things. You can't even take them to court.
Okay, so when did you go to court, and do you now have a smart meter on your home?
I still do not have a smart meter on my home, and I hope this doesn't alert PICO to come put one on. Fortunately, I don't have to have a smart meter because my income is low enough that they can't shut my electricity off. But
all right.
They do have me on a list. I engaged a lawyer and spent a few bucks to find out about all of this, and he went back and forth with PICO's lawyer. So I get the feeling I'm on a list to at least leave me alone for now. See, if this... Also, people are getting shut-off notices like crazy around the state to scare them into taking the smart meter. And it's affecting older people and people who are just scared to death of losing their electricity.
So one of them, it's the microwave stuff that's disturbing. Folks, they tell you not to stand by the microwave. They tell you if you have a microwave seal that goes bad, get rid of it. You should get rid of your microwave every so many years just in case. I mean, many people don't read that stuff, but you're supposed to. Microwaves are dangerous. So the smart meters are going to be controlled by microwaves, right?
That's correct.
All right. Now, so you get into them infringing on your personal freedoms, shutting off your power. That's one half of the equation. The other half, though, is you got into what happened in Turkey. I guess Turkey has smart meters?
Yes, they do.
Tell me the story, and tell me, because then you got into people hacking in to if you have smart meters on our water supply, because this would just be the beginning. The electric is the beginning. But if you do it on other utilities, whatever that might be, like water and sewer, that could get hacked into. So talk to me about the story out of Turkey.
Well, they're making smart meters for water, gas, and electric. In Turkey, there's almost no security for any of the smart meters. It's a very low level of security throughout the utility situation. And anybody driving past your house who's savvy can hack your information and tell when you're home, when you're not home, what you're doing, what you're not doing. Also, the utility is going to harvest all this information and sell it to different people for various reasons. And there's no security. Anybody can hack into these systems. They can shut off your electricity. They can shut off a whole grid's electricity if they want to.
So think about that, folks. What that's going to do to look what happened. They hacked into President Obama's I forget what they called it, not private email, but just the other day it turned out some Soviet people, the Soviets or somebody in Russia hacked into some of President Obama's, I forget what they call the declassified emails or unclassified emails or something like that. So they could hack into us. Now the damage there would be what? What happens if they hack into us? What's the worst case scenario?
They could bring down the entire electric grid in this country through cyber espionage.
I don't know why we do so. I often thought if they ever did one of those smart bombs, those suitcase bombs, smart bombs that would set off those electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic impulse, EMP device, it would. So many things are run by computer. Your cars are run by computer. If they did that, we'd be out of luck. I don't understand why we keep going to more and more stuff that could be affected by one smart bomb. If we still had traditionally, a traditional carbureted vehicle with just a traditional carburetor instead of all the electronic fuel injection, etc., and computers, you could still drive if you had to. However, the problem is gas pumps are all computers. I don't know why we're going that way when it seems to be such a vulnerable way to go.
If people can use technology, it's usually benign. When the government uses technology, it's usually malevolent. There have already been instances of cars forced to crash by people hacking into the car's computer.
Really?
Yes.
Is that possible? Is it possible, by the way, that that's what happened with that Malaysian jetliner?
That was shot down because Malaysia has convicted Bush and Cheney and all those people, Condoleezza Rice, of war crimes in their courts. So if Bush steps foot in Malaysia, he'll be arrested immediately. So they're trying to send them a message, trying to teach them a lesson.
Okay, and now you're sure? Now you get into that, and people go, "Oh my God, we got a conspiracy nut here."
Conspiracies have been shown to be true time after time after time. You take that for what it's worth. They're still hiding the evidence of what actually brought that plane down.
We're talking about the same one, the one they never found.
Right.
Okay, because there's another couple of missing planes and another one that ended up shot down. All right. So again, Pennsylvania is doing this more and more. What are our rights?
According to Act 129, everybody is mandated to take a smart meter. In California, they have an opt-out clause. You can keep your analog meter if you want in California, but there's no such provision in Pennsylvania. Now, there are 4 bills in the House and 4 bills in the Pennsylvania Senate for people to opt out and to cancel the smart meter mandate. But for instance, that's where the strong-arm politics comes in. There's a Consumer Affairs Committee in the House, chaired by Bob Godshall, and he doesn't see any value in any of the opt-out bills. And he's been given an awful lot of money by the utilities, so something doesn't seem right there.
Now, here's this guy saying your guest is half, but who? Central Maine Power. Well, geez. Paul, you of all people, longtime listener here. Here's the truth about smart meter radio frequency radiation. This guy is wrong about the radiation effects and the total power shutoff. He is correct that digital control units can shut down any equipment that have them installed on them, but a smart meter by itself cannot shut off your furnace, your air conditioner, water. No, it can't, but it can shut off the power to your house, right?
Yes, it can.
You can shut off the power.
Part of it is to facilitate people who don't pay, cut off people who don't pay, but it's also to scare people.
But so Paul, I don't think you were alleged that they could shut off one piece of equipment. It would shut off your whole house.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know where, and then Paul's getting this from Central Maine Power. Really, you're trusting the power company to give you the accurate information, Paul? You of all people. If you got any other stuff, help me out here.
The FCC and the utilities have not done proper testing of the microwaves. They do kind of a half-assed routine with the microwaves, and none of this, according to FCC law, is legal.
Can your guest elaborate on exactly what a smart meter is? Is it something beyond just a meter that the utility company can read by just driving down the street? Or can they do it without having someone visit each individual meter? And do you know how many homes in our area presently have smart meters? And by the way,
every utility with 100,000 customers or more is required to install these meters, and I think it's 6 or 7 utilities across the state. It's called Advanced Metering Infrastructure, AMI meter. It's a digital electronic meter that sends out and receives microwaves every 15 seconds from your house.
Okay, I'm just writing down what the acronym is. Advanced Metering Infrastructure?
Yes, AMI meters.
So they can now. So how do they pick up what our bill was? I missed that part.
They do it from the office. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to leave the office. Every smart meter they're broadcast to a central tower, and that tower sends the information back to the office.
Okay. Now, one other thing you said to me, or not said to me, you put in your email was can lead to cyber crimes, which would be, of course, some nefarious group hacking in and shutting off the power. And we're all, like, for example, in Baltimore, they wanted to really screw things up, shut down the power in Baltimore. Things would be a mess. But you said it could lead to personal ID crimes. How is that?
They'll steal your identity. They'll steal.
How can they do that from a smart? How can they do that from a smart meter?
They'll hack into your account with the electric company and get your information that way.
Well, they could do that, but they could do that whether it was a smart meter or not, right?
It's easier. It's much easier with the smart meter. These microwaves are out there all the time.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I don't understand how a microwave smart meter makes it easier to hack your personal information from the computers down at PPL downtown.
It's the difference between stealing a signal from a Wi-Fi computer, coffee shop, or having your computer wired at home. It's harder to get into the cable at home.
Oh, okay. So they can pick up your on that microwave. It's sending your account information as part of how they know what you're using, because for lack of a better way, that your account number is in those microwaves.
That's right. They're sending wirelessly all the digital information.
All right. So this got passed in 2008. So and you've all of a sudden I see you pop in and you're sending me these emails. Why now? Why are you suddenly concerned? Or I never got your email before. Is there some reason? Is there something we're supposed to be doing right now?
Well, I'm on a campaign to send out public relations press releases to as many of the media as I possibly can, and also all the politicians. And I've connected with a friend who's a terrific writer, and you can tell by these press releases that they're professionally done. And I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been sending out emails. Nobody's been paying any attention. The politicians and the utilities just ignore people, hoping this is going to go away.
All right, so there are some laws or some bills pending where? Both the House and State House and State Senate?
That's correct.
Would you know those bill numbers?
Yes, I do. The House bill numbers are 393, 394, 395, and 396.
Okay, 393, 394, 395, and 396, and they all must pertain to something different, but those House bill numbers generally pertain to what?
A cancellation of the smart meter mandate and an opt-out clause for consumers.
Cancellation of mandate and an opt-out clause, okay. And then that's the House bill. So
those are the House bills.
An opt-out clause, okay. And then is there anything in the Senate?
Companion bills in the Senate Senate bills are 816, 817, and 818.
Okay, and those are the same thing, cancellation and opt-out.
That's correct.
All right, and how close are these to being voted on or anything?
Nowhere near being close.
Oh, so are they even out of committee?
No, the chairman of the Consumer Affairs Committee in the House is sitting on these bills. He sat on them for 2 years prior. There were similar bills introduced in the last session. He did nothing with them for 2 years.
Who is that, may I ask?
His name is Robert Godshall.
Okay. All right.
I think his district is 53 or 57 in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And as far as I'm concerned, this Consumer Affairs Committee is doing nothing for consumers and everything for the utilities.
Okay, I'm just writing this all down. All right, so he's the chair of the which committee again?
The House Consumer Affairs Committee.
All right. Appreciate that. So we need to get on the phone. We do have some numbers up at 790waeb.com, and you can reach Harrisburg and the general switchboard for the House. Ask for Robert Godshall's office and say, hey, man, move these bills. House Bill 3...
That would be a huge help. We need to put pressure on these people.
House Bill 393. Look, even if you want smart meters, don't you think if you believe in freedom, somebody should be able to either cancel the whole deal or at least have cancel the mandate, and then there's no mandate, but companies can choose to provide it or not, and then an opt-out clause so that if you don't want it, you have a right to opt out. So, again, it would be House Bill 393, 394, 395, 396, and therefore the House. And then for the Senate, it's Senate Bills 816, 817, 818, and it is Robert Godshall, chair of the House Consumer Affairs Committee, that's sitting on these bills. So you need to get a hold of him and tell him to move the bills. All right, appreciate it. I'll stay in touch. Keep your posts coming. If there's anything new to talk about, I'll get you on again.
Will do, Gunther. Thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome. Tom McCarey, News Radio 790 WAEB.